Innovator se Baat, the SIC IT Kanpur Founder Series, where we sit down with innovators, builders, and entrepreneurs shaping the future through technology and impact. I am Himanshi, and today we are joined by Utkarsh Raj, founder of Pragyan Labs, from our incubation ecosystem at Startup Incubation and Innovation Center, IIT Kanpur. Joining us today for conversation is also Dr. Amrita Adhikari, Domain Head of IoT at SIC Kanpur, who will help us dive deeper into the technical and industrial aspect of startup where and the problems they are working in. In this episode, we'll explore Utkarsh's entrepreneurial journey, the challenges of building a deep tech startup from scratch, the innovation behind Pragyan Labs, and the vision driving the venture forward. So, without a further ado, let's get started. Hi, Utkarsh.
Hello, hi.
Hi.
I'm Utkarsh and I'm founder of Pragyan Labs. So it's a deep tech startup incubated at SIICIT Kanpur. And currently, like we are working on a electromagnetic multi-line refreshable braille display. So basically, it's a tactile computer for visually challenged people. So like nearly around 1.3 million people are completely blind in India, and they don't have any good access of their braille content, or as well as all the braille devices that currently are in the market are very expensive. Like you need to spend around 70 to 80,000 to get a good braille system. Also, their systems are not connected to the internet. You need a mediatory device like phone or computer to get access to the Braille device itself. So at Pragyan Labs, we are innovating a new thing called Slate, multi-line 600 cells Braille display, which will allow the users to read the multiple lines at once, which will allow users to visualize the graphs, patterns, or figures. Also, it has embedded operating system in which user can use the internet, user can use chat GPT and all sorts of internet applications. Also, it comes with a affordable price, and we are trying to build under that 70,000 rupees. And there are multiple features in this device. There are 14 keys, input keys, so that user can give the input to the system itself. And yeah, that's all about the device. And like most probably by next year, July, we'll launch the device in the market.
Okay. So, given your background in engineering, physics, and photonics, and industrial R&D, what naturally drew you towards this building a deep tech startup for blind people? Like, it's a very interesting idea. So, what drew you to build this?
Okay, so like I was born in Bihar, and I came to Delhi for my higher education, and I got admission into Delhi Technological University, and I graduated in 23 with a BTech degree in engineering physics. And like during COVID times, something came into my mind, like a question arose, like how blind people read and write. Although the answer was clear, Braille is the language of there. But I investigated thoroughly on the Google, and I found that there is no single good device, good electronic device that is useful for them. Then I started, researching about that Braille thing, and finally, like after my college, I did a 2 year in research assistant at CSI or NPL. At there, I got the industrial research exposure from industry called FIAM. And at that time, I developed the patience, and I developed the right mindset to deal with bigger challenges and bigger problems. And finally, like last year, I thought that I should quit my job and uh, give my full time to a good problem, and I decided I should start the company called Pragyan Labs.
That's a very thoughtful idea of you of putting down the job and doing something for the people. So now to explore the technology and problem space in greater depth, I'd like to pass the conversation on to Dr. Amrita. Ma'am, you can ask.
Thank you, Himanshi, for the introduction, and thanks, Utkarsh, for your time. So, I would like to start with your tagline, that's engineering tomorrow. So, what does that mean to you personally? Because, this tagline is very interesting, engineering tomorrow. So, what do you mean that?
So basically, engineering tomorrow means at Pragyan Labs, we are trying to build and develop all those challenging problems and all those technologies that are for future. So that's why engineering tomorrow. We are building for future. We are building for tomorrow.
Okay, that's great. And let's be hopeful that we have the bright future ahead. And what's the defining moment, as you already explained in your short introduction, about the Slate V 1.0 that you are building? So, what was the defining moment that inspired you in building the Slate V 1.0?
So I'll just give you a small description like what is Braille. So Braille basically is a script language that is used for the blind people, that is used by the blind people, and it consists of 6 pins, you can say. And each cell is only of dimension of 10 millimeter by 6 millimeter. So it's an engineering challenge to pack 6 independent pins inside that 10 by 6 of area. So that is the most challenging part of this whole slate. So like during multiple failures and multiple tests, something got on the table that yeah, this should work. And after trying thousands of times, so thousands of different mechanisms, somehow that 10 by 6 of cell worked very fine. And now we are developing the whole slate product.
Okay. So, as you know that your system uses ultra power actuators, they are very low actuators and with 25 milliseconds of refresh rate. So, can you simplify this technology, how it works for our non-technical audience?
Okay, so for a normal person, we use A, B, C, but in Braille language, all of the letters and all of the characters are combination and permutation of the 6 Braille dots. So each braille dots needs to be rise up or down to create the certain characters. So it's a basic physics that if you apply current to a coil, it will act as a magnet, and magnet repel and attract each other. So it's a very basic electromagnetic principle that we have read in our junior science classes. But the thing is, if you combine all the 600 cells, it will give you around 3600 of actuators. And if simply we do the math, like suppose actuator is consuming 1 watt of energy, so it will be 3600 watts, like 3.6 kilowatt of energy that the whole device is consuming. So that is the major challenge. Like you cannot have a computer or you cannot have a phone which consumes that much of energy. So that 70 milliampere of energy is very low. It's lower than a LED that you saw in your normal toys and everywhere. So 70 milliamp is the current consumed by the cell itself, one pin itself, and the 25 seconds 25 refresh rate is basically the refresh rate of the screen. Like in 1 second, the pin will be up and down for 40 times, so it will give the user a smooth transition of the uh, text or the images in on the display.
Okay, so that's great. I hope our non-technical audience will relate to that. Now, coming to one very envisioned question, that is like, how do you envision Slate V 1.0 becoming a mainstream learning device in schools and universities?
So, we are planning to collaborate with multiple government institutes and NGOs. Like, currently, I'm in Dehradun, and there is an institute called National NIEPVD, National Institute for Empowerment of People with Visual Disabilities. So, and there is another institution called NAB, Delhi, National Association for Blind. So, there are many NGOs, many government institutes, many government colleges, and universities, especially for blind people and visually impaired people. So we'll collaborate with them, and we'll pilot our product with them, that how a tactile computer is going to be the next Apple or next Dell for blind people. And by piloting and by collaborating with all the government institutions, we'll create a huge ecosystem of braille tactile computer devices. And finally, our users will get to know more about the Slate device when when each colleges and when each NGOs will have their own Slate device.
Okay, that's great. And looking for that exciting time when Slate V 1.0 will be competing with Mac, as you mentioned about Apple. And let's hope for the best and keep our fingers crossed for that.
Yes.
So now I would like to come to the hardware and the software part, which you are developing. So how the hardware and the software developed by Pragyan Lab is different from the imported Braille devices, and how do you plan to protect these innovations through patents?
Okay, so like the hardware part, basically all of the devices that are currently in the market uses a piezoelectric kind of actuator. Basically, it's a actuator that uses some crystals, like the same crystal that we find in the lighter, gas lighter, or in the clock. So it has a property, but we are using different kind of actuators, which is electromagnetic actuators, and it itself a unique way to latch to make the pin up or down. So there is a unique method called latching. So in Slate there is a passive latching, in which, like, if you turn off the power, it will still it will still hold this their position either in down or up. So it's a unique thing, and it will have a novel thing. Also, as coming to the software part, there are many devices that are running on open source softwares, like open source software and hardware like Raspberry Pi, Linux, and all that stuff. But we are focused on developing our own software as well as operating system, and will protect by simply proceeding towards the patenting thing. And uh, once the software is ready, it will be available, like once the software will ready, it will connect to it will connect to the hardware, and it will give a, I guess, a good competition to current existing competitors.
Okay, that's great. So, as I mentioned already in the question, like, can you plan to protect these innovations through patents? Because, that's very important, how you can secure your innovations.
So the patentable idea is the cell itself. It's not in the hardware, it's not in the software. Basically, the patentable idea is how you actuate the pin for up and down movement. So Pragyan Labs will be patenting for that idea only, like how a pin is going upward in upward direction and in downward direction. And because the pin is so small, like you can take a measuring scale and you can just draw a 3 by 3 mm of square, and inside that each pin is there. So the pin itself is a novel thing, and we have applied for the what we have applied for provisional patent, and let's see, we have a period of 1 year. Let's see what will happen, and most probably I'm hopeful that we'll be getting a one patent for Slate as in our company.
Okay, so let's be hopeful and wish you good luck for that. And you are not working only on Slate V 1.0 because you're working on multiple projects, as I can see, because you're working on EMR Braille display, AC duet robot, and the laser headlight. So, can you tell us the USPs of these projects and how they are pushing the boundaries of deep tech?
So the laser project was an incomplete project from my NPL days. At NPL, I researched for 2 years how to make glasses, how to make headlight, how to make glasses, how to make lasers. So that was an incomplete project, and I really would love to add these, like the headlight project, into Pragyan Labs, as well as the robot project itself. It's a very good and industrial project, which I would like to again add in the Pragyan Labs portfolio. But like currently we are only focused in the slate because it's the primary goal of our company. And later on, if slate goes like good in the market and all things are sorted up, then we'll proceed with the other projects.
Okay, sure. And I wish that you can carry on with your other projects and our young innovators also get inspired to such that you can work in multidisciplinary things. Okay, so over to you, Himanshi.
Yeah, so Utkarsh, and for the audience, I'd like to let you guys know for the first time in our SICIT Kanpur Founder Series, we are adding a little twist to the conversation with the rapid fire round. Dr. Amrita will now be taking over with some quick questions so that let's see how fast our founder can think on their feet. Oh.
So, Utkarsh, please be quick to make it more interesting. That's what I would suggest.
Okay, ma'am.
Hardware or software, which according to you is tougher?
Hardware.
One word that define entrepreneurship.
Hard work.
Coffee fueled coding nights or investor meetings?
Coding nights with coffee.
That's great. One thing people misunderstand about accessibility of tech.
Like in the age of internet and AI, I guess everyone is accessible to information.
Yeah, but what people misunderstand about that?
I guess it's just the threshold of the energy, like maybe the laziness of the people. Everything is in your laptop, everything is in your phone. Just
So
you need
people
the,
don't want to use their brains. You want to say that,
yes,
right?
brutally, yes.
Okay, okay. And one final question. If a visually impaired child listens to this podcast today, what message would you want to leave for them?
So just wait for another 1 year and then you'll have access to the internet and you'll learn and you'll write, you'll learn the engineering thing because with the conventional braille books and braille devices, the STEM part of the education is somehow neglected by the current braille thing. So probably by next year, that kid will have a greater knowledge of everything using Slate.
Okay, that's great. So, what I understand is that let's be hopeful. Nothing can stop. Everybody can study. Everybody can grow. May you're visually impaired or not. So, let's be positive. Let's hold our hand together and move forward. That's all from my side. Thanks, Utkarsh, again for your time. Over to you, Himanshi.
Yeah, that was a very promising answer and vision from you and your team, and I hope you reach whatever your target is by next year or whatever time it takes. But I think the product that you're visioning, it's going to be really helpful for people. So, expanding the last question of Amrita ma'am, that you give advice for blind people or the people who are looking up to. What advice do you want to give to budding entrepreneurs building deep tech startups? Like, is it a go with the flow strategy because deep tech is booming a lot nowadays? Or you want to do like beware of this particular thing while building a deep tech startup or something?
So like myself, like I myself was so I'm a solo founder. I have no other founding members. Although I'm looking for a good, great co-founder. But what one thing that I've learned from the like past few years that if you give up on something, it will uh, it will for sure it will not be yours. But if you try, like if you try and if you like just keep up with the pace and with keep up with go with the flow thing, but eventually after 1 year, 2 year, or maybe 3 years, the result will be yours. You will be happy. You'll have a smile in your face. Because again, like when I was in NPL, I gave 2 years to just to make a glass, and literally it was very frustrating. And even now, like as a solo founder, everything is with me. Like I have to start with the MVP of software as well as the electronic part, the circuits, the hardware. So it's very overwhelming. But again, like if you are decided that this is what you have to do in the next few years, like you must do it like at any cost. And I guess just do it, and it will like at the end it will uh, it will give you a immense pleasure and a happiness, and it will satisfy everything. So just do it, and just don't uh, बस हार मत मानो, बस करते रहो.
Yeah. You don't have to regret that you
Don't
didn't
quit, just
yeah.
try and try.
Okay, yeah, that's a very nice thought of you. So, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your journey and insights with us. It was wonderful learning more about the vision behind Pragyan Labs and impactful work your team is doing. A special thanks to Dr. Amrita De Adhikari ma'am for adding valuable technical perspective to the conversation. And thank you everyone tuning into the SIIC IT Kanpur's Founder Series, Innovator se Baat. We will be back with more inspiring founders, stories, and conversations soon. Until the next time, keep innovating and keep building. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Himanshi, for such a wonderful outro. And thanks, Utkarsh, again for your time. Thank you so much.